Hello everyone, welcome to our new challenge for the day. Basically what I have planned for the day is Montreal to Toronto trip, which should be totaling around 1,060 kilometers. So let's round it up and say 1,100 kilometers. We're gonna be doing this trip in my own 2020 Kia Niro EV. So basically the car is not brand new. As you can see, it has around 23,000 kilometers. The reason why I'm trying to do this today is basically because we are right now officially in spring season. The temperature outside is around 0 degrees Celsius or roughly 32 degrees Fahrenheit. And I want to see how the car actually behaves in this kind of a situation. About 2 days ago, I actually put in the summer tires on the car. I basically left it out of the winter mode, so we can see exactly what's happening. Right now the car, as you can see, is actually plugged in. It's not really on, it's just plugged in. The reason why I'm leaving it like this for a little while is because I want to make sure that the onboard battery gets heated up before I start the drive. The idea behind it is that, you know, when you're using winter mode and you know the temperature is quite low outside, like below the 15 degrees Celsius that the manufacturer chooses to be the optimum temperature, the car is going to use part of its energy to actually warm up the battery. So now basically the idea would be that I'm warming up the battery before we actually get started, so we can see exactly how well it's gonna drive for this whole stint. The first leg, it's gonna be basically around 280 kilometers. I'm not expecting the car to actually give me the range that it says it does right now, like around 420 kilometers. The reason being, you know, I know the car very well. I drove it all these 23,000 kilometers, but on the highway it does not like to go over, let's say, 110 kilometers. Like, the efficiency goes down significantly when you drive it over 120. So while I'm waiting for my co-pilot to show up, I'm gonna explain a couple of things. So first of all, as you can see, the car says it's 100% charged. You can see at the bottom in the dash here, showing you how much power it's actually draining from the wall plug. If we go into the menu, we can see that since I put in the summer tires in the car, I've done about 160 kilometers with an average of 17.7 kilowatts hour in terms of consumption. Now, that might seem very nice, but I do expect the car to give me somewhere around 20 to 21 kilowatts hour consumption on the highway. So considering the battery pack in this car is 64 kilowatts, it should give me about 350 kilometers in real life. We're gonna see exactly how it behaves, but that's basically what I'm basing my calculations on and planning my charging stations and everything else that needs to be taken care of in the meantime. So just an official note, this car has never been to a fast charge before, so even though I'm looking in the system trying to figure out the charging times, I won't expect that the estimates here for the fast charge to be accurate, because this car has never seen it. So we'll see what it shows in terms of charging times versus what in reality what actually ends up being in reality. Besides that, I will be driving the car in eco mode. It's not going to be normal or sport mode, it's going to be the eco mode, and that means that I will be using the climate control set at 23 degrees Celsius. Basically, I will try to do it in such a way that it's the normal driving, right? So normal climate control. I will probably be using the heated steering wheel and the heated seats also, just to make sure that, you know, it's nice and comfortable to drive. So it's not gonna be one of those tests where I'm gonna try to see how far I can go before I need to charge the car or anything like that. It's gonna be real world driving, real, you know, nice comfort options and all that stuff that you would expect when you drive a normal car. That being said, we're gonna go a bit over the options in the menu here. So as you can see, the average is 17.7 kilowatts hour before I reset it. That means that basically everything is going to go back to zero. All the settings, I'm going to reset them to zero. The driving mode, as you can see, 85% economical, 12% normal, 3% aggressive, which I find that it's quite reasonable. We're going to also look at the average that it shows versus what it actually does in reality, how many kilometers it's going to be in reality, and see how it behaves. We're now ready to leave, so I'm going to turn on the car completely, see what the range actually shows up to be, and reset everything to zero so we can get a proper estimate from the car and see exactly what it's gonna be like. Everything is at zero. All right, so here it goes. The range right now, it says 453, which actually is not right, because we are, as you can see, at 421 kilometers. Expectation is to do about 300 kilometers. The first leg of this trip is going to be about 280 kilometers until the first charging stations. Depending on how it behaves on the highway, we're gonna see. I'm gonna update you guys along the way, but we're gonna see if we decide to go a little bit farther or not. So far, that's gonna be the first challenge. So let's see what else we have here. Basically, we have the energy information, the battery. As I said, I'm gonna be keeping everything on, like a normal situation, normal driving, and see how the car actually reacts. All right, we'll catch up a little bit later. We're now at about 79% charge on the battery. Situation is the consumption is quite high. It's 26.4 kilowatts. I put the cruise control at 115. Basically, I'm trying to manage it as much as possible. If there's an uphill, trying to make sure that I don't accelerate too much. But you know, trying to use all the features of the car. So cruise control with smart cruise and driving assist is on. From the calculations, given the fact that we've done 21% and 61 kilometers, it's going to be a little bit of a problem theoretically, because I don't think I'm going to make it to the first charging stations that I had originally planned. If we're going at the consumption, basically you can see that we have everything on, so trying to keep it as much as possible in the normal limits. We'll see what happens a little bit later. We're now at 50% charge of the battery. As you can see, it's not going very well. Normally the drive from Montreal to Toronto, it's slightly uphill, and I know this because last week I've done the same road trip in an SUV, and the consumption going towards Toronto was slightly higher than going back. So right now 50% of the charge, and we've done 136 kilometers. Basically, I had to readjust the plan for charging. I'm gonna make a stop within the next 50 kilometers to top up the battery up to 80%, and we'll see how that is gonna go. But so far it's not going according to plan, let's say. The estimated charge for the DC charger says about 41 minutes. It might actually a bit lower than that. It depends on the charging station that I'm going to find available. I'm going to try to go to a 350 kilowatt charging station to see how much the car can take. The temperature is now minus 2 degrees Celsius, so slightly lower than what it was when we left. We'll see how it changes during the day. Right now we're getting ready to go to the first charging station, just to make sure that I don't get caught off guard. Even though it says 129 kilometers left in the range, I'm not gonna trust it, so I'm gonna top it off back to 80%. Let's see, what do we have here in terms of charging? It's at 36%. It says that it will take about 45 minutes to charge. What I need to do right now, though, I need to put the car in sport mode, so the battery gets warmed up and optimized for the fast charge that I'm going to give. So we'll see how this goes. We have about 10 minutes drive, about 13 kilometers to go. So we'll see what happens. All right, made it to the charging station. We're gonna try to use Petro-Canada's, Canadian Tire's charging station, 150 kilowatts. Let's see where we're at. So 31%, it says it will take about 47 minutes to charge. After trying 3 different stations, we're finally connected. It's a 350 kilowatt charging station. Right now, it shows that we have 48 minutes left until 80%. The car currently is charging at 39 kilowatts per hour. We'll see how it evolves. I'll keep you up to date, but I'm expecting the charge to go a little bit higher, based on the fact that the battery should warm up. So we'll see how it goes. Close to finishing up the charge. The highest charge that I've seen was 57 kilowatts hour. Right now it went down to 23. I'm not sure exactly why. Just looking at the other charging station, there's an Ioniq 5 that's charging also, but the Ioniq 5 was around 70 kilowatts an hour. Now it's down to 64. So I'm not sure if it's the charging station or if it's the batteries, but I highly doubt it, because the variation has been quite big. Between 57 and now down to 23, it's a little bit disappointing. Might be the charging station, we'll see. Like, I'll try different brands. This one was Electrify Canada at Canadian Tire. All right, so we're done charging. Just gonna disconnect the car. It costs $14.59. Right. Let's see what the car says now. Okay, minus 2 degrees Celsius, range 320 kilometers. I'm not sure that that's going to be enough. It's not gonna be a real one, I'm sure, but we'll see what happens. Okay, so we did 185 kilometers. That's good. On to the next challenge. All right, so made it to the next charging station with 4%. No range, and throttled mode. Even though it was showing about 320 kilometers when we left, I managed to do about 227. Didn't use cruise control because it seems to be draining quite a lot more juice than if you manage the throttle. So now I have to plug in the charging station. Hopefully it works properly. So apparently now the car is charging only at 31 kilowatts. It's a little bit disappointing because the charging station is supposed to be 350. I was expecting a little bit more, but we'll see how it advances during the charging session. I guess the problem is they are charging by the minute, so there's no interest in actually doing the charging too fast. But that's just a personal opinion so far. We'll see how the other charging stations are going to perform. After 1 hour of charging, it was quite disappointing because it only charged at around 30 kilowatts an hour. I don't know if it was the charging station or the car, it was too cold. I don't really think it was the car, but anyways. So I'm at 54%, 205 kilometers range. I have to do 120 kilometers till the destination, and we're gonna see how much variation we have on that. 560 kilometers later, at 9% charge. The temperature went up a little bit, so we got a little bit more range in the car. So I was able to drive quite a bit with the 50% charge that I had before. I was able to do 160 kilometers roughly, and now I still have 9% left. I'm gonna plug it in, see what it costs and what it charges at. Now we're charged at 80%. It's been a successful session. The charger was going at around 60 kilowatts per hour. I'm ready to do the next leg of the trip. It should be another 210 kilometers. Range says 310. We'll see what comes up at the end. Made it with 13% to our next charging station. Wasn't the one that I had planned because they were out of service. So 793 kilometers, 8 hours and 11 minutes of driving. This is charge number 4. Just a few updates while we're waiting for the car to charge. Right now I'm in Kingston. Out of the 7 level 3 chargers that are available next to the highway, none of them are in service. And the only one that I could find was a close charging station in downtown Kingston. Couple of notes that I might have forgotten to mention. The car is on the original summer tires. There's nothing that's been changed. They're not used. They're exactly what Kia offers with the Niro. Basically, the winter mode, as I said in the morning, it's turned off, so I am not preheating the battery in any shape or form or using it for conditioning. The first charge was a little bit disappointing. Was minus 3, minus 5 degrees Celsius outside with the wind. Charging didn't go very well, but it did a job. I waited until 80% charge, so I was able to do the next leg of the race. The drive from Montreal to Toronto, it's slightly uphill, so my average consumption was around 25.6 kilowatts hour. On the way back now, I'm averaging, like the actual average for the whole trip is going down to around 21 kilowatts, so it's slightly downhill. So, you know, the indication of the range in the dashboard is a little bit more generous, and it gave me the chance to actually drive a little bit farther with each charge. Trying to get to 90% charge this time around from this charging station, just to be able to make the last leg of the trip, 270 kilometers from the starting point. So we'll see if I'll be able to get there. I'm trying to avoid to stop at any other charging stations, mainly because they seem to be very unreliable. Petro-Canada stations, funny thing that I found out is that if you charge on any of the stations besides the first one, you're gonna be limited on the charge. The maximum that I could get was about 30 to 33 kilowatts hour, and I looked at the other cars where they were charging. If you can get to the station number 1, you can get up to 60 to 69 kilowatts hour. This is basically on my car, the 2020 Niro EV. I know it sounds silly, but it seems that the charging station number 1 at Petro-Canada, it's always the one that charges the best. So try to keep that in mind. I'm hoping this is going to change in the future because, you know, the infrastructure is there, but right now the usability, it's not that great. All right, charging session is done, 89% charge. I put it up to 90% just to make sure that I can, you know, give it the best shot that I have to do the last 270 kilometers. The average went down to 21.2 kilowatts hour going back from Montreal to Toronto. We'll see what happens. I'm gonna try to not use the smart cruise control because it seems to take a lot more juice out of the battery, keeping the constant speed. So I'm gonna try to drive it myself as much as possible and try to take advantage of the ups and downs of the highway. And I'm gonna be using maximum regen to see if it makes a difference. Technically speaking, I don't think I'm gonna be able to make the 270 kilometers with the current displayed range, because there seems to be an offset of about 60 to 70 kilometers. But at least I'm gonna be able to get to the Quebec side, where I'm gonna be able to use some of the circuit electric charging stations, which seem to be working flawlessly compared to whatever I could find in Ontario, at least so far. So it turns out that you can make 270 kilometers with 90% of the battery and 24 kilometers to spare. So total of the trip, 1,061 kilometers, almost 11 hours of driving, and I'm down to 8% charge. I'm gonna call it a night, but tomorrow I'm gonna update all the data and I'll let you guys know what it's happening. I just realized that last night I forgot to actually show you guys how my driving was for the whole stint of 1,061 kilometers. So here it goes. It's been 90% economical, 8% normal, 2% aggressive. The aggressive part usually goes up whenever you put the car in sports mode, even though you don't necessarily drive like too fast or anything like that. It's just a question of like the battery being put in this ready to charge mode, so it does drive up the numbers a little bit. Now for the final numbers. So 2020 Kia Niro EV, 64 kilowatt battery. The total of the trip was 1,061 kilometers with or 660 miles. The consumption totaled 229 kilowatts hour. That was full to full, from which 170.4 kilowatts hour were at the fast chargers. The number of fast charging stations that I needed to use were 4. The total cost of the fast chargers without the charging at home was $75.31. The total time that I spent at the charging stations was a little bit over 4 hours. Now, take into consideration that some of the charging stations were a little bit better than others. So I'm expecting that, as time passes, the efficiency is going to get better and all charging stations are going to be able to deliver a little bit better kilowatts hour. So we're going to see how this will change when the temperature goes up a little bit more also. But so far, it's not that bad. Thank you very much for following this video. If you have any comments or you like the content, please don't forget to subscribe.